What does the CI have to offer for other people that work with people, professionals, healers, coaches, acupuncturists, masseuses even?
Well, I think I started to say, I don't know if you are going to have to redo this whole thing, but
No, I
three,
got it.
okay. One is working from the edge, which is being aware of our energy. First of all, just deepening your awareness and relationship to energy. The reason I mentioned the mindfulness is because even within my mindfulness practice, I'm doing pranayama and Tibetan breath work, which is all about clearing the channels and the chakras, and that's energy. Um, so it's the same with Desda's work. And I think the more people become not adept with and knowledgeable about energy and more comfortable with it, then they can start to better manage their own presence.
Yes.
And maintain the dignity of people with whom they work. Because there's always this issue of blending or merging, pulling back because you're trying to avoid something because somebody says something and it kind of triggers something in you and you get like, oh my God, let me try to like protect myself. Or you're the other way. You're like, we're either fight or flight. So fight, flight, or merging, as Richard would talk about. And we do that energetically, we do it mentally, we do it emotionally. So all those kinds of issues become highly resolvable. Like you can resolve it by learning how to have a compassionate stance at the edge, which is the first part of the work that we learn, and then continue building that however we work. So if I'm coaching, I'm working from my edge. If I'm doing healing, I'm working from my edge. That preserves the relationship between us and your dignity. It also gives your dignity and mine. It also gives you the spaciousness to have whatever experience you're going to have without being judged.
Yes.
So that's one. Two, that goes right into witnessing, which is something else that she taught us as a skill. I'm not saying we didn't have it before then, but it got honed in this energetic work. The ability to witness someone, again, without judging,
yes,
holding them with a lot of compassion so that they could experience or re-experience a charge, an emotion, a sensation, and let it go. Because ultimately, all this work, whether you study with, you're doing somatic or you're doing Reiki or you're doing, is so that people could become they could trust their own, quote, inner guru. That's what, and you can only trust your own inner guru and be empowered by yourself if you can, like, put all these four aspects into balance.
Right.
So to me, that's the benefit of other healer types or coaches studying this work: the edge, the witnessing, the knowledge that it's not just all head to head, although everything's mental and it's all a fabrication, as we say in Buddhism. There's still every story. What makes a story really powerful is the emotional charge that it carries.
Right.
And oftentimes I'll incorporate CI work in my coaching because it helps people cut through that emotional charge. They're not going to go home and meditate. And I don't want to keep listening to them tell me the same story over and over again. So I'll say, listen, I think you have a holding pattern. Or I won't even tell them that. I'll just say, listen, I have this thing that I can do that will cut right through the middle of this and free you up to take action. And they're like, okay.
Very cool. So who should look at becoming or turning CI more into a professional way of dealing with their already either current profession or making something completely new out of it? What kind of person would you like? Would you like to see more using CI? Is there anybody, or any particular person that you see is more suited for this than others, or who would you actually recommend or refer to starting looking into a more professional way of using CI?
You mean, when you say professional, you mean like taking a stance class and a core class and maybe studying it.
Yeah,
Studying,
maybe
like,
even becoming a practitioner or even an instructor, or so any particular type of person that you see is would be more suited or than others.
I think it's kind of, again, I'll go back to Buddhism and coaching. Those are professions that attract people who want to serve people. I'm in a service business, so I'm going to keep looking for the best modalities out there to serve other people. And if I'm doing my job well, I'm going to get myself out of the way so that I can work with people in as many domains as possible. So I'm always looking at what can I do to get my act together so I can better serve my clients.
Very
So
nice.
to me, the person who comes in is someone who holds that level of integrity. This is not like about tips and techniques. I mean, we studied for 4, 5, 6 years with Desta. This is not like magic bullet stuff. In fact, none of the game of life is magic bullet stuff.
Right.
Coaching, I studied for 9 years with somebody before coaching was even considered, before certification existed, before people could go and take a 1-year course. Those of us who were interested in working in this field found somebody who was a couple steps ahead of us and studied with them until we kind of became as competent as our teachers and went out and started our own gigs.
Yeah.
So I think the field will call you.
Yeah. Good. Nice. Yeah. So is there anything that stands out for you that is really different than other modalities that you have encountered?
I mean, something about the CI work.
Either about the CI work or just about the way the sacred anatomy is laid out, something that really speaks to you.
Well, I just got my book.
Ah.
And I wrote Des and told her I've read the first kind of 100 pages. And my goal, it's like a Bible. I'm planning to read the whole thing over the next few months, reread everything. It's, I mean, this is, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. I am not like a woo-woo kind of person. I'm pretty practical. And so I had a certain amount of, as Tara Brach would talk about, radical accepting I had to do to accept all of this. And it's Desta's body of work is really comprehensive and really, I don't know. I mean, we used to joke, but it's like going to med school, all the protocols we had to learn and how she could actually see the anatomy, all these pieces fitting together in an integrated whole. Um, it's it's complicated, and it's not for everybody. It's not like I went looking in my life for this. It found me. It's like a cat, they decide. It finds you. And I'm not sure. What's the question you're asking me? I apologize. I forget.
It's like it says one thing that really that you really want to share, that really peeks out at you about, say, the sacred anatomy or core individuation, that is, it really needs to, the world needs to know about.
Well, I don't know about other bodies of work. I'm not a Reiki person, although there were Reiki people in our program who are fairly advanced. And even that level of advancement wasn't nearly as comprehensive as this sacred anatomy. I don't know Barbara Brennan's work. All I know is I have all these strengths. Like I can do medical intuitive readings. I can do Akashic record readings. I can lift astrals and entities, and I trust my skills, even though I haven't been able to build a complete business doing this. And I don't know, coaches we're used to working in businesses where some of this doesn't necessarily fly.
Yeah.
I think if you're a massage therapist, an acupuncturist, it's very easy to integrate this in your work
Ah,
because you can lift things out just while you're working on people who are already coming in with an appreciation of alternative healing. So to me, it's although I don't necessarily separate the world that way, a lot of people do.
yeah.
In business, Rona, we're going to do business. We're not big on the woo-woo stuff.
Right.
In massage, we're already coming here to let go. So if you want to slip a signature removal or do whatever woo-woo stuff you do, I'm fine with that. It's all part of the process. And I'm not saying it should be that way, but it does appear that way
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for a lot of people. So I think anybody who wants to do it, it works. I
Fantastic.
mean, here's the beauty. I
Yeah.
said it's the same with I keep going back to Buddhism, which has been around for 2,500 years.
Yes.
The
Same here.
same three things. You set your intention as a practitioner, whether it's strength, CI work informs my coaching. My mindfulness practice informs my coaching and my CI work. So that my intention is really strong. I bring my attention to the person in front of me and I bring my awareness. And you bring those three things together and boom, you rock and roll and help people.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now, Rona, is there any one situation that was especially spectacular, where you either with yourself or with somebody else saw amazing results that was, bordering on the magical? I know that I have had quite a few situations like that with CI, but I'm also really curious about other people's experiences. If you wouldn't mind sharing a situation like that.
Too many to recount, but two come up. A short
Okay.
one is when I moved to Sarasota, which has just been a few years, and this was in the middle of the recession, I thought, oh, I'm just going to go out there and work on people because I was I just finished the program. I was really ripe. Not a good time to start a business in the middle of a recession in Florida, where we were really kind of the boat was capsized. So I started working with pets because animals are very responsive to energy work, and Um, I worked for a woman who had agility training, provided agility training, and she had several dogs, quite a few dogs. But her first dog, a lab, was dying of cancer, and I prolonged that dog's life. So she says, because I would just go in and do energy work, and the dog would kind of come back. And she was an alternative in her medical application with her dogs, if that makes sense. She wasn't into Western medicine. She liked alternative. So we prolonged the life of that dog and reduced the stress that the dog felt as it was dying. And then I helped her with another dog who just old age, and back issues.
Yeah.
And so I would do protocols with him as well. And she could see the improvement, even though she would say, I don't understand what the heck you're doing, but I know it works. So
Right.
that's to me just like a blessing
Yeah.
because
That's
she was happier and the pets were in better shape. Then, in
beautiful.
terms of working with a client, I think when sometimes people just come in for a one shot, which I'm like, I'm good and I can work some kind of magic here in one shot. I really encourage people to do this over time to really get the result. I would say I've had a client now for, I don't know, she was an apprentice she was one of my apprentice clients when I studied with Desda, and then she continued with me for like 4 or 5 years. And the kind of human being that she has become, who trusts her own inner wisdom, um, that I find that gratifying because because we did many different protocols, and because she saw benefit each month or over a period of months, she could keep tackling over time those really deep-seated conditioned tendencies that we tend to avoid or negate or deny. And that to me is what makes this all worthwhile.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can remove an astral, negative energy, and people feel empowered and they feel more in their bodies and lighter and more relaxed. And I'm like, that's good. But the people who stay the course because want to they want that dream, they see how they can be, or they don't even know how they can be, but they know it's different from the way they keep doing life, and they're willing to do the work. Those are my good stories.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And
I hope this helps.
yes,